and welcome to another podcast of Investing Education Academy. We're doing something a little different today. You all always hear from Leon and I our many antidotes about what the market's doing and what the next phase of the market's going to be. But we've been talking a lot recently about alternative investments. Alternative investments are very important in a down market. And they're always important, but it's especially important in a down market. And there are investment opportunities inside of the metaverse that some of you all have been hearing about. Some of you all have no clue what the metaverse is. Some of you all have been in the metaverse and didn't know it. So we're going to talk about it today. However, here's the twist. We have an intern. Her name is Sydney. She is my niece by virtue that makes her Leon's niece. And she's been doing an amazing job. If you have been in the platform, you've seen her comment, you've seen her posting, you've seen her sharing things. And this is what Investing Education Academy really is about, is multi-generational education is in addition to wealth transfer. So we have been doing our best to transfer knowledge to her. And we realized through our interaction, she's been transferring a lot of knowledge back to us. She's also been giving us energy to continue doing what we're doing and educate our family and the younger generation. So we are going to have Sydney on today. And you all, if you all don't know, she's on a swim team. She's out there doing entrepreneurial competitions. She's an artist. I'm sure she does spoken word or something if you know her mom. So it's just the many attributes. She's a honor roll student, and we are extremely happy to have her. We hope you all support this podcast, share it with friends, and also ask questions. Let's see what she's made of. Let's ask her some hard questions. So I'm going to do what I always do, and it's a little bit of housekeeping. But before I do my housekeeping, Sydney, can you give us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what you like about Investing Education Academy?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sydney Thomas, and I am a seventh grade student, and I'm an artist, as my uncle already said. And what I like about Investing Education Academy is that I get to learn these things that other people didn't get to learn when they were my age. So that when I get older, I already know these skills and I know what to do and what not to do in investing when I'm older.
Now, Leon, can you kind of prep people on what we're going to talk about? Because I'm still doing some housekeeping.
Yeah. Yeah. So today we're gonna like Brent said, cover the metaverse. And City's gonna kind of give us more detail into that. But like Brent said, the reason we're doing this is because we're all in the stock market. We're all in we're all typically looking for different investments, things that can be correlated and non-correlated with our current portfolios. We actually have something coming up in the near future that's going to be another type of investment that we're also going to be bringing to the community. But today we're focusing on the metaverse. And like I said, mainly because alternative investments, the metaverse, it's kind of a catch-all term, but it can mean things from gamings, things from movies.
Wait. Don't go too far into the definition.
Sorry. Oh, that's it. Yeah, sorry, Cindy. Didn't mean stub your toes. Yeah. So yes, we're going to cover metaverse today. Cindy's going to give us kind of like I said, an intro, a definition behind it. And then she's going to delve a little deeper into giving some of her opinions, some ways possibly to make money off it. So Cindy's going to give us a lot of information today on what the metaverse is and how we can all benefit from it.
And so, Sydney, I'm a curveball guy. So before we dive into that topic, like, what are some of the things you've learned from being around Uncle Leon, myself, Investing Education Academy?
I've learned for sure, because I learned from my mistakes, that when you guys say sell something, sell it, or think about it and sell it so that you don't lose a lot of money. And it's just so fun learning about all these different things. For example, learning about crypto. I learned a lot about crypto that I did not know before. I was curious about crypto and I talked to my dad about it, but I still didn't know that much about it. And I'm still learning, of course. I've just learned so much and it's been so fun.
Okay, now Leon, I want to say, from having her as an intern, what have you gathered from watching her? Good intern, bad intern? Where are we at?
The greatest intern ever on the planet Earth. No, so so one thing I love about Sydney is dedication, timeliness. She does what she says she's gonna do. We've had experience with that in the past, but that's not always the case. Um, and she's active, right? And the biggest thing is, like you said, learning. Is she said, she's learned a lot about crypto. I mean, we're still learning about crypto ourselves. But the main reason we have Sydney, and we want to kind of reach out to the younger generation, is to share this knowledge, is for them to learn and to pass it on, to their kids and their grandkids and have generational wealth. But mainly, what I see with Sydney is, like I said, is dedication. Everything we've asked her to do, she's done. She's done well, and she's done consistently.
No, Sydney, I've been highly impressed. Like from day one, you've kept a schedule. You've challenged us with a couple things like, hey, I need a task. You guys can't have me floating. But then also you let you float because Leon and I are all over the place. So we want to publicly thank you and tell you you have been an awesome advocate for yourself. And we want you to continue doing that throughout your life. Because even when people have good intentions, sometimes they just forget to do good things. And you always have to advocate for yourself. So with that being said, everybody, again, let's dive in with Sydney T. And we're talking about the metaverse. Some of you all know what the metaverse is. Some of you all never heard about it. We're probably going to give you a perspective, even if you're familiar with it, you haven't had before, because we may know it as investors or as 20 plus or 30 plus or 40 plus or 60 plus, but you don't know it as a 13-year-old. And why is that important? Why should we know about the metaverse from this 13-year-old young lady? This is why. That is the generation that's going to determine if this industry is profitable or not. They're the generation that's going to determine if this is, something to go far beyond us. Like, does it have longevity? And it can only have that longevity if the younger generation cares at all. And so we're going to talk to her today about, how are the younger people using it? What does it mean to them? And also, what are her thoughts about it going into the future? So let's get started with the first question. Sydney, what is the metaverse?
Okay, well, the metaverse is a digital platform where you can game, you can shop, you can own property, virtual property. You can sponsor events. There's concerts. There's all sorts of things. But the main important and key detail is that it's all in virtual reality or another reality. It's not in real life, and you can communicate with people in closer to a real life setting than you would via video technology. And it's like you're there, but you're not. And it's closer to a video game than it is to real life. It's like if you step inside of a video game.
Okay, I think that's a great way to describe it because there are a lot of people thinking, what is this thing? Why? How do I get in? Or what happens when I'm in? So, do your friends and peers actually use the metaverse?
The only way that my friends really use it is through Roblox. Like that's the closest thing without like the VR headset, but that's the same concept, like with an avatar and you're controlling that avatar. But a few of my friends are asking their parents right now for the headsets and different types of headsets, but their parents are still like, "What is it?" So our parents don't want to get it for them yet.
And does Roblox require a headset or does it just make the experience more
Um,
immersive?
no, it doesn't require a headset. You can do it on your phone, your computer, iPad, your TV. It's just like a platform where you can control your avatar, like most video games.
Then the avatar, what's an avatar?
An avatar an avatar is like it's like you but in a video game form, and you can design it whatever you want to do with it. You can buy clothes for it, you can change your skin, you can add all sorts of things, and you can control your avatar. That's the main thing. You can make it go left, right, whatever you want to do to it.
So
All
it
right, so
sounds. So it
you
sounds. It sounds like an avatar is a digital representation of yourself in the metaverse. Okay.
now, you mentioned concerts and and Leon too, like if it's pieces that you want to throw it in as we go along. In the digital concert space, now I've heard that the metaverse has actually shadowed or morphed the Super Bowl in regards to the number of attendees at some of these concerts happening inside the metaverse. I'm talking billions of people. This is crazy. So or millions. I'm sorry, millions of people. So when you attend a concert, have you ever attended a concert in the metaverse?
No, I haven't, but I've seen a lot of advertisements for different concerts in the
Uh,
metaverse.
Everybody, you literally buy tickets like you would anywhere else, but now where a concert would have been geographically limiting, it's not, and you still get to walk around. And she said you have an avatar. So when people are going into Roblox, when your friends are going into Roblox, what are they going in to do?
You can play different games. There's like classic video games where you like avoid obstacles. There's video games that you live in a house. There's video games that you live in a house. Some of them you build and you're with your avatar, but it's not, it's as if you're like building things. You wouldn't be in your avatar. It would be more of you. But most of them, you walk around, you jump over things like classic video game type of things.
Okay, now will you get bored of this, or do you think this is something that will evolve, or is it like after a while you're just sick of it and you want to go away?
Well, we know most things are here and then they're gone the next day. So I think that it's going to be here for a while. I don't know if I see it in the long term run, but I think maybe if it has an option where it can be more closer like to real life, that will attract more people into it. Because I think a lot of people like the idea of being somewhere but you're not actually there. But I think a lot of people still see it as a video game. So if they could transform it into something that's closer to real life and in a video game, then it will be here for a longer time.
Have you used any other platforms besides Roblox?
No, I haven't. But
So
I've played in VR before, but not under the metaverse.
Well,
okay.
real quick, can you define what VR is?
VR is kind of like the same thing. It's like you put on a headset and it's like a 360 view of where you are. And you can be on a roller coaster, you can be anywhere in the world, you would turn around. Not all VR headsets you can move in, like the metaverse, you can't move in all of them. Some of them it's just a photo or a video, but it's the same concept of being somewhere else.
And what does VR stand for?
Virtual reality.
Thank you.
There we go. This is what we're about. Put them on the spot. If you just tuned in, or if you're listening to the podcast now and you had a question for Sydney about the metaverse, you can enter it. If you're online watching us and you would like to ask this young lady a question about her thoughts on the metaverse, please enter your question and we will ask her on your behalf. Now, while we're waiting for any questions to come in, Sydney, I want to thank you again for being with us. This is a lot of fun. When you look at the metaverse, do you think about investment opportunities, or are you strictly looking to have fun?
I think it depends on the way you look at it. I look at it right now to have fun, but I know you can purchase land in the metaverse. Also, if you design different clothing items, if you design the games that you play in the metaverse, or if you help do that, you could potentially get money for that. And there's so many sponsors. There's clothing companies, celebrities, music artists, different movie companies that do things in the metaverse and they want to attract people. So you can help them figure that out, like a concert, I guess, same thing.
It's a lot of people saying land. Like, why would you buy land in the metaverse? Like, does that make sense to some people? It makes no sense to others. What are your thoughts on buying land in the metaverse?
I think you have to really look at it in like a future, like look at it as a future, because if I wasn't investing when I was like 2 years old, but if you asked me at 2 years old, should I invest in a company called Zoom that does the same thing, and we would be in a pandemic when we need that, I'd be like, no, we wouldn't. I would never waste my money on that. But now I would be like, yeah, that's a great investment. So I think you have to really look at it in the long term. So I think that if the metaverse develops into a more real life type of thing, that would be a really good investment to make.
So, utility wise, Leon, like, what's your thoughts on the metaverse?
So I have mixed emotions on the metaverse. From the gaming side, I love it. Like the gaming aspect of it is, Roblox, like you said, Sydney, it's like the biggest quote unquote metaverse out there. I mean, metaverse is a catch-all term for a lot of different things, but Roblox is one of the main gaming metaverses. We just talked about land. give an example. A couple months ago, Snoop Dogg has, I think it's called the Snoopverse. And he has a plot of land in his own metaverse, and the land next to it piece of land next to it sold for I think close to $500,000, right? And so, like Sydney said, though, the reason that sold, we all know, is because it's Snoop Dogg. But the question is, will it be profitable in the future? As Sydney would say, you got to look long term. We don't know the answer to that now, right? We have no idea. But somebody thought it was worth the investment. Personally, right now, I would not buy land in the metaverse. The only place personally, I think there's really long-term success in the metaverse is gaming. I think Roblox, Take-Two, and EA, Electronic Arts. I mean, there are a bunch of companies out there that have video games / metaverse plays too. But real estate to me is one I'm just kind of like, I don't really know. But for long-term, I think gaming is going to be huge for the metaverse.
Yeah. So for me, the concerts, shopping, all those things, I do believe will win in the metaverse. It's a matter of what will it look like in the future. I definitely don't believe it'll look the same, but there's a lot to be said. And Zoom at its height showed us that people want to be able to still do everything they normally would do without having to physically travel there. Or if we just can't physically travel there, people still want to connect. They still want to feel connected. So for that reason, I think the metaverse is going to give us those options when things happen, like a COVID environment, or when we are maybe going through another situation that requires us to stay in the house or a lockdown type environment. That's one. But then for businesses, to be able to mirror your business in the metaverse and to bring people into a conference center or your office in a somewhat more engaging format than what you normally find in some of these streaming platforms, I think is going to be really important. Now, land-wise, I have my skepticism because in reality, I can just create a new world. But at some point, the broad strokes acceptance of a platform, it doesn't even really matter what the platform is, whichever one, Axie Infinity, Roblox,
decentralized land,
any of these, Sandbox, it's if enough people say this is where they want to be, that's where the advertisers are going to go. That's where the people who are selling goods are going to go. So it's definitely here to stay, but I don't know in what capacity, but it is worth investing in. And for anybody who's not familiar with the metaverse, get familiar. Even if it's just a conference or concerts or whatever the such, wouldn't you want to know how to participate? Wouldn't you want to know if you can do a conference virtually, either all on Zoom or create a room in or create an environment inside of Axie Infinity while people are playing these crazy games and you're hosting a conference? It's just different. And people want different, and they want to get away and forget about the troubles of the real world. So, these platforms do work. Now, something came up, and I think I'm going to flash this one up on the screen. I would just like to say, Miss Sydney, that I'm impressed with how she presents herself at such a young age and the patience she shows while explaining things to us old folks. So I had to say that slowly because I couldn't even read that. It was a tongue twister for me. So, and I'm newly diagnosed with glasses, so I am getting used to reading things with my glasses. But I agree. I mean, Sydney, that's why I wanted to put this up. You have shown great poise. I know it's kind of could make you nervous coming on to do a live recording and also to talk about financial topics. Those are topics that sometimes people shy away from. But what I really hope that everybody takes away from this is that you should be talking to your kids about this stuff, because they can have your kids, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your like friends in the neighborhood. Sharing this information with children is doable. And I've heard people say, well, when they get older, then we'll talk to them about it. We just did a whole podcast with Cindy about the metaverse, and she's 13, a very impressive 13-year-old, but 13 nonetheless. And she gave her supporting reasons why she's doing this. She explained what she thought about the metaverse in her words. It didn't have to be Leon and I's work. We weren't feeding her this information. And trust me, I went way off script. And so
Right.
these conversations, even though it might not lead to, her going, well, I'm gonna buy some land and invest. She may invest in the companies that are building these metaverses. She may invest in the designers who are creating clothes for these avatars in the real world. But from having conversations like this, her thinking will be opened up to at least explore the possibilities. Whether she does it or not is not a requirement for us nor anybody in our family. It's just to give her the information to let her develop into the person she wants to be as it relates to investing. The more knowledge she has, the quicker she'll be able to learn who she wants to be. And anyone in your family can also start to grow at age 2. Age 1, when they're learning words, teach them words like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, whatever it might be. Help them understand the vocabulary, because that's when it's easier for them to digest it as they hear about it as young adults. So
sorry, just one quick point on talking to young people about investing. So I can't remember the name of the fund or the investor, but this is back in the early 2000s. This guy, he owned a hedge fund. He ran a hedge fund, and multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. This is the early 2000s, and he was talking to his kids, and his kids were all on this thing called Facebook, or at the time it was called the Facebook. And they were like, what are y'all so excited about? And as he had daughters. His daughters told him what this thing was, how it worked, where it started. And so in hedge funds, a lot of times invest in hedge funds / VCs, a lot of times invest in startup companies. So he started doing his research about the Facebook thing. He eventually got a meeting with Mark Zuckerberg at the time, which is a college kid doing this thing out of his dorm. I think he ended up investing like between $100,000 and $500,000 in the Facebook at the time. This is, like I said, early 2000s. We all know what Facebook is now, right? But again, this hedge fund investor found Facebook through talking to his his college-age daughters. So again, another example of kind of what we have Sydney on too is talking to young people and find out what they're doing. That's why we brought the Metaverse today. No matter what Brent and I think about it, good or bad, like Brent said, if Sydney and her generation love it, it's going to be successful. It can be a good investment. So yeah, definitely bring up Metaverse and talk to your kids about, or any young people in your life. What are the new gadgets, the new apps they're using, the new tools they're using, because that could be future billions or millions for yourself.
Yep, agreed. Sydney, before we go, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yes. So one more thing. I actually recently saw, I think it was, I forgot what fashion company it was a clothing company. And they did a runway in the Metaverse on Roblox. And the attendees, you can see the attendees on Roblox, and it was thousands of people on there. And you can buy, it's virtual clothes. But the virtual clothes, I think, shy you in, like they want you to see the virtual clothes on yourself and then decide if you would like to get that in real life or not. And I think that's really cool, because I don't think all the people that were in that game would have then gone to that fashion show in real life. So I think it's a good experience too for you to go places that you wouldn't have gone anyway.
Yeah, and I'll follow up on that. One of the things I've been researching is the retail marketplace, because normally in recessionary type environments, certain retailers do really well. So in looking at it, I found out that a lot of retailers with strong brands are revving up to make a lot of money in the metaverse, because what Sydney just said is really important. They're doing these fashion shows, but some of them have no plans on ever making the clothes. They're only going to have the clothes available in the metaverse, which means it's nothing but a design. So they're making almost the same amount of money they would make on like a pair of jeans or shirt or sweater or whatever, but they have to do no production of the physical product. They're talking about, their margins on this are unbelievable. So there's some retailers that are going to really do extremely well with this metaverse, and really creating fashion for the metaverse. And the fact that they don't have to, some are choosing to create a physical product is just mind blowing. Nike too.
Go. Oh, sorry. Go.
Nike has been talking about releasing the NFT code for different pairs of Jordans when you buy them now. In different tennis shoes, you'll be able to actually get the NFT code, which means that's almost equivalent to an authentication number. So it might be like shoe 23 or 44. But in the metaverse, it also means that no one can technically reproduce that same shoe that you have. This is like mind blowing. Honestly, I don't even fully understand what it means, but I am just going to keep digging and figuring it out.
I think what was interesting that Sydney, you said how at these fashion shows you can they do the fashion show with the clothing, but then you said, I think you said, can you somehow try the clothes on yourself in the metaverse and then see if you want to buy it in the real world? Is that what you said?
I said, yeah, on Roblox they
Mhm.
have it was like a spring fashion show. I forgot for what company. And they had the fashion show, and then they had a part where you could try on in the game some of the clothes. But I'm not sure if you could do it in real life, but I'm assuming some of them so, because I think it was Gucci actually. It was
Mhm.
like their spring campaign, so I think so
Okay.
that you can then go to real life. And a lot of games did, like they had the Grammys. The Grammys actually did one of their the Grammys in Roblox. It wasn't with like real celebrities, but it was like the the red carpet and stuff. And plenty of concerts all the time.
I just think it's
And
cool that they're linking the metaverse. Basically linking the metaverse with the real world. Because if you can see this fashion show and quote unquote try them on, I guess however that works in the metaverse, and then buy it for yourself in the real world, that's awesome because you're linking the two. You're linking the metaverse with the real world, and it's linking commerce with those two. So again, another way to make money off it.
Yep.
yeah, I think. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think if they develop it more to real life and you actually have your actual self, like not an it's not like closer to an animation than like your real life self. If somehow it gets developed closer to your real life self and you can actually see like the clothes in the game, looking at yourself in like a mirror, I guess, in the game, people will really start wanting to buy it because it's like looking at an animation of yourself is different than me looking at yourself with the actual item on.
Right. Yep.
Agreed.
That would be awesome.
So, Sydney, thank you for being with us today. That brings us to the conclusion of this podcast with Investing Education Academy and our 13-year-old intern, Sydney T. This has just been great. You know, I'm so happy you did this. So happy everyone got to hear it. Please share this. And thank you for the comments. Now, Leon and I owe you two things. We owe you stock picks or cryptocurrency picks. So for anybody who's already in our Facebook group, you will find one of our picks there. If you are not a member of our Facebook group, search Investing Education Academy in Facebook. We will pop up. Join. And for those of you all who are members of the paid platform, we will be putting both of our picks inside of the paid platform. And you can also see the history of our picks. And if you were there for our hot seat last Saturday, it was a good one. It was a good one. We made it through like March, only March of
It was April of 2020.
April of 2020. So we still have a long way to go, but we learned some things about our picks that were positive, a couple things that were negative. And if you want to know what was positive, what was negative, you got to join IEA. So with that being said, thank you again, Sydney. Thank you everybody for continuing to support us, and we will continue supporting our youth. Have a great day.
Thank you.